Hello students, and welcome to another business studies class of class 12 commerce planning chapter. So far in the previous classes I have discussed about the definition or the introduction of planning and also the important characteristics or salient features of planning along with the different important elements of planning. Also you get to know about the importance of planning, the advantages of planning. But today's class is based on the drawbacks of planning. Like all other functions of management, planning has also certain limitations, certain drawbacks. Today's class is based on those drawbacks, those shortcomings of planning. Point-wise, I will discuss one by one the limitations of planning. So let's get started. So you all know that planning is based on survey. Planning is based on certain fact and figures. Planning is dependent, or rather I can say accuracy of planning is dependent upon some fact and figures available to the planners. They have to do a survey, and based on the previous statistics they try to make a plan. If reliable information or dependable data is not available, planning is surely to lose its value. So the first shortcoming of planning is that there is always a problem of accuracy. Accurate data must be there to make a solid plan. So the first limitation is problem in accuracy. Now moving on to the second limitation. Planning is said to be time consuming matter and it is expensive process. It is very costly in nature because it is costly in terms of money, time, effort and other resources. There are little chances of getting benefit as the future is uncertain. So it is a lengthy process, it takes time. So this can be called as another limitation of planning, that it is time consuming and costly process. It is time consuming and a costly or an expensive process. Next point is that planning is a rigid process. It introduces rigidity into the function. It is a predetermined course of action. I have told you previously also that planning has to be done beforehand, before all other actions, before all other functions of management. So it has to be done from beforehand. It is an action which should be predetermined. So it leads to inflexibility. It is not flexible so much. And the executives have to work on a track which is set by the management, having no other alternate actions. So planning restricts the employees' freedom, initiative, and there is no as such chance of creativity, or there is no such desire for creativity in case of planning. It is a track which has been already set, and there is no flexibility in that track. Planners set that track and employees have to work following that track. So this is very inflexible in nature. It is called a rigid process. So the third limitation of planning is that it is a rigid or inflexible process. Moving on to the fourth point. Planning creates a false sense of security among the managers. they believe that as long as everything goes on according to plan, there is nothing to worry about. So they move towards the fulfillment of their objective, and they can't think about the improvement of efficiency or effectiveness of planning. So it creates a false sense of security. So this is another point of planning, that it creates a false sense of security. The next point is that industry always experiences rapid changes and variations and dynamism, because the scope of planning should be dynamic, it should be vast, but it is not like that, because planning is a predetermined process, and it tends to be so difficult task that it cannot it cannot cope up with the changing environment, with the changing situation. So planning cannot accept change, or we can say planning is not very much it is not so much open to variations. Planning is not open to variations. Is not open, or they did not accept variation, open to variations. Now, there are some external constraints which limits the planning. External constraints come from multiple government policies, it comes from the technological changes, competition, or tax imposition, or import-export changes, whatever changes the government gives. These external constraints hinders planning. As a result, managers are not free to take decisions, and effectiveness of the planning reduces. That's why external constraints are another important limitation of planning. External constraints. So these are the important limitations of planning. Last but not the least, another important point, that is planning discourages new approaches or new ideas. Managers are accustomed to a particular philosophy. I have told you previously also, managers follows a particular principle, a particular track record is there for the managers which is laid down, and they continue to follow it without adopting any kind of changes for a period of time. As a result, they are hesitant to adopt or to accept new approaches. They cannot accept new ideas also. So planning discourages new approaches, new ideas. This is another point of planning, another limitation of planning. Planning discourages new approaches. So these are some important limitations of planning which you must write whenever you will be asked to write about the drawbacks or shortcomings of planning. These points you must include in your answer, because these are very important. Apart from these, you can collect some other points from the J.K. Mitra ABS publication book, which I always refer to you. But these are very important points and easy to write also. I hope I am able to make this answer point wise. I am able to create this in a point wise so that it is helpful for you. Try to follow this point and write the answer whenever you are asked to write about the drawbacks of planning. So today up till this, in my next class I will come up with another topic of this planning chapter. So up till then, goodbye.